What if I told you that change does not always start with world leaders, but with small daily choices we make? When we think about change makers, we often envision leaders, activists, presidents, CEOs, people who make a sweeping difference in society. However, you don't have to substantially impact society or change the world to be considered a change maker. Making a difference in our own lives is a force of change, and each one of us has the potential to be a change maker. The buildup of 1% changes we make in our daily lives are the ones that create change in the world. Former US President Barack Obama once said, "Change will not come if we wait for some other person or some other time. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the change that we seek." For many of us, change begins not with grand gestures, but with little daily shifts. Let me share my personal experience and introduce you to the 1% rule. Imagine a childhood where afternoons weren't for playing outside, but for mastering violin skills or memorizing math formulas. Growing up in Hong Kong, an extremely competitive and stressful academic environment played a big role in how I see the world and people around me. Parents in Hong Kong strongly believe in the need for their children to be winning at the starting line. What does that mean? It means that starting at the age of 3, I took numerous classes: drawing, swimming, ballet, violin, English, math, Mandarin, and public speaking, as preparation for applying to elementary school. At that time, I thought that was normal, because children the same age as me were in the same boat. Taking various interest classes makes us look like a high-achieving candidate for elite schools. We constantly felt pressure to learn and try to meet our parents' and society's expectation without time to rest or play. To the tiger parents, achieving perfect scores means success in the future. They think it is best to start early. Okay, let's presume we are winning at the starting line. Does that mean we would also win at the finish line? No, because carrying heavy stones on our backs at such a young age will affect us physically and mentally in the long run. These kids can lack motivation and a sense of mastery as a result of these external pressures. So, how can they even move forward? Not only is this not likely to foster a love of learning, but it can instill a fear of failure. Outstanding kids lose autonomy, childhood, and happiness. So, will they truly win? This highlights the fallacy of the notion of winning at the starting line. In the words of Brian Dyson, life is not a race, but a journey to be savored each step of the way. Yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, and today is a gift. That's why we call it the present. Now, you might be wondering why I'm telling my story about studying in Hong Kong's educational system. I'm sharing this because I experienced it firsthand. And I can tell you that despite transitioning to the Canadian educational system for the past 3 years, the pressure still follows me to this day. It didn't matter I was in a new environment. The perfectionist mindset and fear of failure had already rooted itself deep within me, which led to my mental breakdown last year. I based my self-worth on academic performance and had several panic attacks because I was disappointed in myself and too anxious before tests. I put myself under unnecessary stress, did not enjoy what I was doing, had no energy to spend time with friends, and most importantly, I wasn't who I truly was. But one day, when I felt like I was in this unescapable tunnel, I thought to myself, I can't stay like this. I need to change. I have to get out of this rut. But how? I started to gradually change my habits and the way I talk to myself. I change from being on my phone first thing in the morning to meditating. I change from mindlessly scrolling through my phone to reading books. I change from staying in my room to running a couple times a week. I change from telling myself how stupid I am and blaming myself for making mistakes to practicing self-compassion. A popular self-help book I read last year, Atomic Habits by James Clear, introduced me to the 1% rule. If you can get 1% better each day for 1 year, you'll end up 37 times better by the time you're done. An example of the rule is my first run, which only lasted 3 kilometers. I added distance bit by bit. Every week, I added 500 meters to my runs, until 3 kilometers grew to 5, which then grew to 8, and now more than 10K. Just like how I gradually increased my running distance, small daily improvements in other areas of life can accumulate significant difference over time. Small efforts are like a chisel that sculpts and shapes a piece of stone into something beautiful as time progresses. I did not change in one night. It took time and still will. It is a matter of consistency and persistence. It is important to keep in mind that it does not have to be a 180-degree rotation. 1 degree is still a change. Change is the direction, not a destination. So, if you did something different from yesterday, be proud of yourself and celebrate that 1 degree of change. We cannot control everything, but we can control ourselves. And often, we underestimate our influence on others. When I started running, suddenly many of my friends who had never run before wanted to join. And I've received some messages during the summer about their running achievements. One friend messaged, "Oh, I just ran my first 5K. That made me happy and encouraged me to keep going and eventually start a running club." Our thoughts and actions have incredible power, and by changing yourself, you can inspire others to do the same. However, remember you are not changing yourself for anyone else, and your change can look different from the person beside you. It is crucial to be authentic and true to yourself. My personal growth has taught me many lessons, and I'm very grateful to have people along the way to guide me. I'm glad that I felt stuck, but I did not lose hope. Little by little, things did get better. I learned not to aim for perfection. There's no clear definition of being perfect, and often what may appear perfect on the surface has chaos and mess bubbling beneath. To bring this to an end, I just want to remind you of a few key takeaways. In a world full of endless possibilities, opportunities, challenges, and chaos, to win is to pause and realize life is not a race, and you're not behind. Moreover, we should never overlook the power and butterfly effect of small changes. Sometimes that's all we need. Lastly, do not underestimate the ripple effect of personal actions on others. It could have a spreading and profound influence that you could never imagine at the outset. Just as my journey of shifting my mindset and behavior growing up in 2 different environments has shown, every single one of you has the power to transform your own lives in ways you might not yet see. Change does not always take place like an explosion. Instead, it is more like a river carving a canyon over centuries. It is subtle and takes time, but is powerful. I'm excited to see how much I can change in 10 years, 10 months, 5 days, or just 1 day. As of now, the changes I've made are not on the front pages of the New York Times. But I have made changes. They started small, but they happened big for me. You can do the same. Every change starts with individual action, and it is up to you to decide what life you want to live. You don't have to change the world today or tomorrow, but I urge you to think, what's that 1% change you can make today? One small step. Whatever it is, start now. See where it takes you. And trust me, that's where the real change begins. Thank you.